that there is hope. There is, that isn't the end. I think your feeling is right, particularly if you're aging. Right, that's the end of my life. That's the last thing I'll ever do. All I'm going to do now is either retire or whatever. And certainly things changed totally, and a lot of opportunities opened up, which I would never have thought had happened. Strangely enough, there were certain things, practical things, that made these things happen. One was a friend of mine bought me a mobile phone, and that opened up the social side of things, which it hadn't existed before. So, and then the other thing was I started playing around with computer graphics packages. Corel Draw was one I was working in, and started doing kind of abstract art, basically, on using that. So sometimes there can be things that can facilitate things happening. But I think you definitely need to, I started using the phone more than I'd ever used it in the past. So it's a communications thing.
So you actually became more social? Or
yeah. I would probably go out more, I'd have a drink and that sort of thing, which I'd not done before. But that came partly because of being involved with the band. So the band were going off and out, and we'd go off and have a drink together, that sort of thing. So you got to talk to quite a lot of people that way. If you're capable of using it at that stage, of course, that's another thing. But the point that the internet has done is kind of demystified authority. So in the past, doctors would prescribe something and you'd just take it because the doctor said so. Now most folks will look upon the internet, right? What's the side effects? What do we know about this drug before we take it? So I think that's informed more people, and probably the same will happen with psychiatric conditions. People will look up what's been said, and is there any dispute about this? Is this the truth, or is it just a version of the truth? So the advice that you'd give, you'd need to find a really good friend, and you're never quite sure who your friends are. As I say, friend in need is friend indeed. You work on people that really seem to be still concerned about you when you're in this state, and they are probably the people that you should confide in and find out that it won't always work. Sometimes you'll have chosen the wrong one, and the very person you thought you could trust is actually the one who is the Judas, if you like, and the one who reports you to the authorities. So you really need someone that totally trusts you regardless of what you say, and doesn't say, right, it's in your best interest to do such and such a thing. I think that lobby groups are tending to change things, because we had an issue with Frank Bruno. You heard the story there, where a lot of people bombarded the Sun newspaper with emails saying, it's not acceptable to talk about bonkers nowadays, and the attitude. Do you realise you're actually offending 25% of your readership, effectively? If you think about it. So that kind of there's more sort of pressure perhaps to stop people being to get people to be a little bit more. I don't really like politically correct, but that sort of thing, And if there's various taboos, you can't be sexist, you can't be racist, you can't be ageist, or you can be a little bit ageist, but it's getting that way. But you can still talk about nutters and psychos and so on. So it's getting to a stage where those sort of words as well. What do you mean by that when you use that word? So.